I didn't really want to get into this now. Or ever. I don't actually think it's a good idea for me to keep going with this. With you. I suppose it's time I told you the truth about why I came to the Commonwealth to begin with. When we met, I told you that I was here because I was running away from home. Obviously, after what happened at the radio station, I'm sure you figured out that's not the full story. That man, Alex, he didn't come after me because I'd run away. Not exactly. He came after me because he sent me here. And I didn't come back. I just thought you would want to know who you're traveling with. You know, the girl with a weapon and a clear line of sight to the back of your head at nearly all times. I'm sorry about that. It was just so hard to get away from that place, to really leave it. That I guess I wanted to pretend that it never existed. It's Agnes. That's what they sent me here to find and bring back home. She's more than she seems. More than a digital personal assistant, or whatever the posters and those demonstrations said she was. I don't know. All mission barometers are strictly need to know. And I am not allowed to ask. To locate her physical mainframe and source code and bring it, plus any necessary technology back with me to my home. Bellwether. There's a broadcasting tower to the far north of here. I know exactly what it is. There's a shack nearby with a lot of radio equipment. Once we're there, I should be able to find a way to decipher these broadcast coordinates. I'll put the coordinates on your Pick-Boy. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to know? The most important thing that you need to know is that I am not going back. It is orderly, as opposite of a wasteland as it gets. For everything a purpose, for everyone a function. A good way out west. Not nearly far enough. Let's just say that if I'd found a boat before I found Agnes, I'd be somewhere in the Atlantic right now. Maybe even if I hadn't found a boat. Funny. I can't tell you how many tribal heads and settlement leaders have said the same thing. Before Relance and display their bodies in plain view of their former subjects. In the end, it would be easier, or at least faster, for them to fight, to resist. Most did in the early days before my time. But word gets out. By now, most of the prodigal territories have heard. When a girl with white hair appears at your gate, the battle has already been fought. And for them, lost. They made me a herald. I made my first kill the morning of my 12th birthday. 2 days after the mayor has refused to relinquish his settlement to the priests. Clear skies, good even light, high vantage points, small caliber rifle from 120 yards out. The mayor inspects the cornfields below. He is old in age, slow, soft target for a young herald. My second shot entered through the neck and passed to the lungs. My first had passed through his right shoulder. I'm furious. He left me on that hill, instructing that I was not to return home until I had retrieved the non-fatal bullet from the soil. I found it after 6 hours of searching. That evening, at the temple, the high priest held it over a flame until it glowed. Before the congregation, he pressed the bullet into my shoulder until the skin blistered over, and wiped away my tears, and lectured on the complementary relationship of pain and inaccuracy, and the unacceptability of both. I have never missed since. Before I met Agnes, no one had ever told me there was anything unusual about my life. I had a function, a purpose, as I should have, as all life must have. I am still struggling to understand, to undo. Well, again about what happened. I should have known they'd find me eventually. Yeah, that is Kat, my sister. You mean when she went catatonic? Her keeper was killed right in front of her. She felt like she had no voice, no sight, no understanding, no function. Let me ask you something. That device you wear on your arm, Pip-Boy, right? When you turn its wheels and push its buttons, do you believe you're giving it orders to follow? To my people, it's exactly the same thing. A keeper operates his herald as you would a computer terminal, or any tool at your disposal. A rifle left unattended harms no one. It is the hands that grasp it that kill. From the mountain, the keeper curls his fingers, and from the valley, his herald makes a fist. Because a herald is an emblem, a sign of the world to come. The priests say that the Ante-Finum era, the world that was, ended because the thread of order had frayed. The veil of humanity, ripped into halves by aimless minds and degenerate hands. And he who hopes for a stitch must learn to relish the needle. Become wrath and cut more threads for lack of faith. This is who I've been since I was born. I never knew another life than this until I met Agnes. I want to start over. Be my own person for once. If I can even figure out what that means. I already told you. I went where I was told to go. Did what I was told to do. Killed who I was told to kill. You think I wanted this for myself? Or for my sister? This is the function that we were assigned when we were born. The card we drew. Believe me, I'd give up everything I had for another hand. Until I met Agnes, I never once thought it was possible to be anything else. That's why I didn't go back. She showed me pictures of the world that was, played music, told me stories, and I learned it was nothing like the world the priests always describe. They say it was a sinful, awful place that ended because it deserved to. But it wasn't. And it didn't. People back then were happy. I wish I'd gotten it. Agnes told me that as long as someone on Earth is still breathing, there is hope. Ever since I decided not to go back to Bellwether, I finally could breathe and hope. Yes, she was raised as I was, for the same function. Until the radio station, I had never seen her outside of Bellwether. Our missions were always separate, as was our training. When we were both 14, I saw her return from an assignment, shot through the stomach, almost bled out entirely. I tried to sneak into the sick bay and see if she was alright, but the healer got me and tracked me off to my keeper. I was confined to the clear room for 2 weeks. After she was released from the sick bay, they did the same to her. An acrylic cube, 8 by 8 feet, suspended by a wire 100 feet above the ground, right in the center of the city. Nothing inside, but a slit for air, a single bottle of water, and a bucket. When I was 7, I was caught stealing contraband from a captive. That got me 3 days up in the clear. I remember sitting up there, staring out over the city walls and imagining that the air beneath me was water, and that the cube was a ship that could take me somewhere. Anywhere, really. As long as it was far, far away. It was a book. Pirate Girl and the Seven Seas. Just a stupid book for stupid children. No, I wasn't. My people are my family. Were.